Hi, it's Cristy Fincher. I am so excited to talk to you today about applique. It's one of my most favorite techniques to teach. It's one of my most favorite to just do for quilts. And I cannot wait to share with you my technique that has been taught to me by my mom, the amazing Sharon Schamber. She developed this technique using an applique foundation more than 10, quite possibly almost 15 years ago. We have a book called Piece by Piece Machine Applique that we co-wrote and was published by AQS. It's still available. It's available on my website. We also have some wonderful instructional DVDs. But today I'm going to show you just some basics on turning your applique. I will follow up with some videos on placing your applique onto your background fabric, as well as stitching your applique in place and then washing your applique. First thing I like to mention is the videos that I am doing this little series are to help support Pile of Fabrics Skill Builder Block of the Month blocks. This month of September 2013, Alyssa has two different blocks for the Skill Builder. One of them is called Liberty Bloom, and the other one is called Modern Beauty. They are what she is working on for you guys to teach you this applique technique, which I was very happy to help teach her as well, and just tickled that she enjoyed it enough to want to share it with all of you. So I'm going to show you specifically how to turn pieces out of her Skill Builder Block of the Month kits. These little pre-cut sets are available at purpledaisiesllc.com. I'll give you a little peek. They are pre-cut, which is really nice. You don't have to cut all of the pieces yourselves. As well, Alyssa has them labeled with letters so you know where they are going to go when you lay them out onto your backgrounds. So let's go ahead and get started on supplies. When you are doing this applique technique, again, it was developed by Sharon Schamber, and we use this applique foundation. We are going to start calling it Sharon's Secret Applique Foundation. It is a washable. It actually will end up staying in your applique projects. It will not be taken out of the back like some other templates and using freezer paper. This will stay in, and when it is all finished, you'll get a really nice look to your applique, which I will also show you in a upcoming video. So to begin with, you will need your applique foundation. If you ordered the kits, they are pre-cut for you. If you downloaded the PDF or are using another applique pattern from anywhere in the quilting and applique world, all you would need to do is get a pencil and trace through, because this foundation, as you can see if I put this underneath, is see-through. So you can easily trace your applique pieces. There is no right or wrong side to the applique foundation, so it's really nice for nesting pieces and not worrying about if you're using the right side or the wrong side. You do have to make sure you mark for rights and lefts. There's been many times when I have cut all my pieces correctly and started turning my pieces and ended up with 3 rights and 1 left. It's an easy fix, but usually just with a pencil, because it's washable, I'll just mark on my piece what it's supposed to be in R and L for rights and lefts. With the Skill Builder Block of the Month pieces, you don't need to worry about that. There's no rights and lefts. They are all symmetrical, which makes learning the technique nice and easy. And then if you'd like to learn more, then we can go on to more advanced techniques as well. So let's get started with the Liberty. Sorry, it's Liberty Floral, not Liberty Bloom. I apologize, my mistake. It's Liberty Floral. So we'll go ahead and get started with one of the ovals for the Liberty Floral block. It is a long, skinny oval, which is challenging because of this narrow end. These sides are going to be very easy and quick to turn, but what I'm going to show you today is how to turn these little ends here. So we'll go ahead and get started with that, and then I'll show you what to do with your applique pieces once you get them all turned. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a piece of fabric and get my little pressing station set up. So when I get my little pressing station, I have my board here. It's one of the boards that I made. There's a tutorial on my website on how to make these boards using canvas and batting and a soundboard, so I can actually pin to it, and it's very, very lightweight. So the first thing I'm going to do is use some freezer paper. You can use Reynolds, anything you'd like, and I'm going to press it on part of my board. And that is going to give me a little working space for using my glue, because we use glue a lot with this technique. So that'll just give me my space, and then when I'm done and it's all gunked up with glue, I can peel it off and throw it in the garbage. Makes it really nice and easy. So I'm going to go ahead and get my scissors and just pick a fabric that I'd like to use for this little piece. And I'm going to go ahead and use this orange here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to pause for a second and talk about fabric preparation for your applique. With this technique, the magic behind it is once it's sewn, it will look hand stitched. Part of that is in how we handle this sewing process. It's also in how you handle your applique fabrics. The best results come from pre-washing your applique fabrics. You don't need to dry them in the dryer. You could, but I like the feel, and it keeps my grains more consistent when I just wash them in the washer and then air dry them. Sometimes in the dryer, when they get whipped around, my grains will kind of shift and go back and forth, especially with looser weaved cotton fabrics. Here I'm using Art Gallery Floral Elements, which, if you haven't tried Art Gallery for turned edge applique, you have to. It's the best applique fabric next to a hand dye or a batik. They're just amazing to work with. So I air dry my applique fabrics, and then the background fabric does not need to be pre-washed, and that is part of the magic as well. When your background fabric is not pre-washed and your applique pieces are, once your project is all done, it's all quilted up, and you're ready to wash everything, all of the glues come out, the applique foundation softens inside, and the background does its little bit of shrinking, and that shrinking kind of makes your applique pieces tuck under. That tucking under, that little bit, gives the look of it being hand done. It's not flat and stiff where you can see every single stitch that was stitched down. You can also stitch this down by hand, which gives a beautiful look as well. So that's my little tidbit on fabric preparation, pre-washing the applique fabric, not your background. So go ahead and get started with the gluing. You're going to need a washable Elmer school glue stick. This is my favorite for this part. There are glue sticks available at local quilt shops, but this is cheapest, and I get the best results. So whichever, let's go on to move on to gluing our piece here, which depending, zoom in a little bit, depending on if you are working on a right and left, but again with the pile of fabric pieces, they're symmetrical, but if you're working on rights and lefts, the glue is going to go on the top of the piece, on the upside. So you're going to just kind of put glue, see, this is why we have freezer paper. Put glue nice and generous, and then this is my little trick for keeping my fingers clean. Pick it up with your glue stick so it's stuck. Take it over to your fabric, place it down, keeps your fingers from getting all gunked up. Otherwise, keep a damp cloth nearby. Put it down onto the back side of your fabric. So you can see why you do the glue on the upside, because it's going to face the same direction as the right side of your fabric once it's glued down. After that's glued, get your nice hot dry iron, no steam please, and heat set it. That heat setting is going to stiffen up the starches of the glue, making this very easy to turn, as well as secure the foundation to the fabric. And again, the foundation is staying in. We don't need to peel this out later. And it's part of that look of this applique technique. Once that's glued in place, you're going to take your scissors, and if you're a right-handed person, generally you're going to cut away from you and go counterclockwise. Lefties tend to go clockwise, and that will just give you a little bit more control when you're cutting. And you can see I have a very narrow allowance. It's about 1/8 of an inch. The wider your allowance on this, the bulkier it's going to be, and the harder it is going to turn this rounded end of the oval. So keep a consistent allowance all the way around, not too wide, which I know is a little bit unusual for other applique techniques, but it really works wonderfully for this. And go all the way around. And then it's all cut and ready for some more glue. Go ahead and get your glue stick again. All ready to go. And this time we're going to put a generous amount of glue just on the edge of our allowance. It's on the foundation a bit too, but put a generous amount on your allowance. I'm just going to be ready to go. You're also going to need a cuticle stick for this. It has a pointed end and the rounded end, and to a certain extent we're going to use both ends for this. I kind of use it just to lift it up, keep my fingers from getting all gunked up. Now this is where we start turning, and now I am facing the camera and I'm turning toward myself, so I'm actually turning the opposite direction that I cut it. So if I turn around, maybe that would be easier. If I turn around and start turning it, you can see this is exactly what it should look like for you as you're turning it. I do a little pinch and roll motion with my thumb and my pointer finger, and then roll the allowance over. And I can kind of feel where that foundation is, and then I make sure to stop. And if you get little ruffles, that's just fine. Don't worry about those. You can flatten those out later. Now I'm down to my tip here. I would not recommend starting at the tip. Start on the middle of one of the sides. If you're right-handed, I start on the right side, lefties on the left side. And this right here is where I'm going to use my cuticle stick. And kind of like a stiletto. You can use a stiletto, and then I kind of push it up a little bit at a time. It's going to ruffle up here, but that's okay. My concern is this edge, and getting this edge here nice and smooth. See this edge right here, nice and smooth. I'm not worried about the ruffling here because that will flatten out later. This is when I use the flat side, and then I mush this down, making sure it's all nice and smooth around the edge. And then when that's done, I go ahead and go all the way down the other side. I'm down at this end again. Take the pointy end of my stick and push it on it. Making sure that this is smooth here. Oh, that looks good. Take your flat end of your stick and flatten it down. And then go ahead and finish turning the rest of that edge. Now, take a good look at any of your edges here. See if there's any lumps or bumps. I have a tiny little lump here. Doesn't seem like much, but if I want to fix it, I can go to the back side and kind of just smooth it over with my cuticle stick. Just make sure I get it exactly how I'd like. And then it gets heat set. And now it's ready to be placed on the background with all the other pieces. I really hope that this was helpful to you. I'm going to come back with some more and show you examples of the foundation after it has been sewn. Also before washing and after washing. You can see now it's very stiff, but I promise once it's been washed, it's going to be nice and soft. I'll show you a little bit here real quick. Let me get a little bit of water. So I have a little cap full of water here. If I get my foundation, a little corner of it, and just dip it in the water here. Once it's washed, it gets wet like how tissue paper would, and it just kind of falls apart and becomes really fine fiber. So when it's inside your applique piece and it's been all washed and it's beautiful and lovely, it gives your applique this beautiful trapunto look behind it, which really shows off the life that applique can give a quilt. Instead of it looking flat and kind of just blending into the background, it really gives a life and loft to your applique. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Also, it makes applique faster, more efficient, and a lot of fun. So later on you don't have to cut that out, and I love knowing that. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back with some more applique tips and tricks in just a while.